Alright guys, so I wanted to make a video talking about injector duty cycle because I finally figured out something that I've struggled with for a long time. I come from a electrical engineering background, and you can't really have more than 100% duty cycle. And something I've noticed with like stock computers is a lot of times you see like 120 or 135% duty cycle, and that's shouldn't be possible. Um, and I see on forums a lot like, oh, my car runs on 135% duty cycle and it's fine, it doesn't matter. But I think I finally figured out what that actually means to the real world. This is a log. This is from when we had the crap marrow on the dyno, and it made 586 horsepower. So you can see here, if I go up into the run, you can see here that the duty cycle is well over 100% for most of the run. And so you can see that very clearly. It gets to a peak of 120.4% duty cycle. And I made this little spreadsheet to try and explain this to you guys. These are four-stroke engines, so that means intake, compression, power, and exhaust. That means there's 2 revolutions, essentially, for your window, for your fuel to be injected. So say we take that number, so the RPM that the car is at 120% duty cycle, so we take 6909, and my spreadsheet calculates pretty easily here. 17.4 milliseconds for fuel to be injected into the engine. So if we go back to our log, okay, in our log, you can see something I log in my logs is the commanded pulse width right here, which is an average for the bank. So you can see that's greater than that window size, or the amount of time that the computer would like to open the injectors is greater than the amount of time that it has. So if we open up our calculator and we do 21 divided by 17.4, that gives us right there, times 100, 120.6 percent duty cycle. So that's where that number comes from. I finally figured it out. It finally makes sense to me. So you can see, obviously it's not going to be perfect. This is an average value, so it's not a 100% live value. But yeah, it's I mean, plus or minus 0.2%. That's pretty close. So I also wanted to talk about, so effectively, when this car was running on the dyno, making 586 horsepower, the injectors were flat out for pretty much the whole run. And you can see down here that our AFR was around 11.2, 11.1. It even dips into the 10s here at the end of the run. Yeah, 10.9, 10.8, 10.7. You know, that's pretty low for AFR. At this boost, we should really be targeting about probably high 12s, sorry, low 12s for our AFR. There's some power to be gained here. So what I did was I took the tune and I modified it so that it would lean the car out and it wouldn't command 120%. It would command just over 90. So something else, people really recommend that you don't run your injector at greater than 80%. I've read some places, which I think is a little excessive. But say we're say okay, so here in red you can see the injector offset, which the ECU adds that to your injector pulse width, so that the injector can get open, because effectively the injector is doing nothing for a certain period of time. So you have to add this offset in. Say our offset is 1 milliseconds, we're at 7,000 RPMs, and that gives us a window size of 17.1 milliseconds. Say our commanded duty cycle is 16. You can see, 160, oops. So say it's 16, well actually let's say it's 12. You can see there's plenty of time for the injector to get closed and then open it back up before the next cycle. So say I command it to 16. At 16. So you can see there's this little tiny gap between the two. Say I command it to 16.1. You can see 93.9. That's our duty cycle. But at some point we hit 96. So you can see it overlapped the next pulse. So effectively, when the ECU adds this injector pulse width to the offset, it's overlapped, and the injector is open 100% of the time. So you very quickly you go from this 16.1, which is 94%, to 16.2, which is 100%, and that's a pretty big change in fuel flow, obviously. So that can make your injector flow rate very unpredictable and very hard to control your AFRs. So that's why I was trying to get the injector flow rate down. So if I open up the log file from the dyno, we went to a buddy's dyno. That's a little closer, and you can see I got the injector pulse width. So I started to pull. You can actually see it goes above 100% there for a little bit. But as the run goes on, you can see the injector pulse width gets down in the high 90s, so it should still be able to get it closed and back opened again and be able to modulate it a little better. So you can see we peak out at 94%, and you can see also down here that the AFRs are a lot happier, at a high 11, low 12. And also, I don't know if this is a side effect of having less fuel, but we pulled plugs at some point during the day, and it was like, this thing will take more spark. So we were able to throw a little more spark at it, and the car ended up picking up close to 40 horsepower. So the first run on the dyno, it made 577. So obviously that 586 was a repeatable number on this dyno, and then it picked up to 620 horsepower, which is pretty darn impressive for a GT45 on a 4.8 through an unlocked auto. So pretty awesome. So after this, we took it to Beaver Springs, and it ran its quickest and fastest pass that it's ever made. It went a 9:59 at 143, which also happens to be my quickest and fastest pass that I've ever made. So pretty cool. I mean, that's pretty darn impressive for a GT45. So I'll play you guys that video. Alright, so I hope you guys enjoyed that. And I hope my spreadsheet helped people understand kind of how all this stuff works. I've seen that over 100%. I've seen that in like Holly and Megasquirt as well. So it's not just stock computer. But yeah, I hope it makes sense why you shouldn't be targeting, you shouldn't be commanding 135% duty cycle, in my opinion, anyways. I mean, it's your car, you can tune it how you like. But um, yeah, so it's pretty cool. I hope you guys enjoyed it, and I'll see you in the next one.